Today we're going to be talking about our overall review of the Wuthering Wave game, but first I want to start you off with a 20-second combat montage. And if that intro got you excited, then we got a lot more to talk about, because buckle up, I played this game in the beta for more than 100 hours, on top of the fact that you can now pre-register for the official release using the link in the description. If you didn't know, Wuthering Wave is basically a brand new open world gacha game that will be coming out sometimes later this year. Now, during the second closed beta, Kuro Game were very kind to provide us special access to the influencer server that give us unlock to everything so that we can properly review the game, on top of sponsoring this video. But I promise you I'll review this game as genuine as possible, because while there are a lot of aspects that I like, there are also certain aspects that I don't. Wuthering Wave is a next generation action RPG game that focuses mainly on combat like you've seen in the intro, but also with a really beautiful open world that you can explore as well. We're gonna start the video by talking about the open world aspect, including the puzzles and challenges that you'll encounter. The thing that I really enjoy here is that their open world puzzles as well as challenge are really interactive, and they're really fun, really unique design. Like this one, for example, that it's a straight up 2D Mario course. Or like this one that is like a super cool small brain teasers, grid filling puzzles. Now, in order to help you kind of get around the world and discover these challenges and puzzles, Wuthering Wave actually made a really cool parkour system that will easily help you get around, and also included a grapple hook. As you travel across the open world, you're gonna come across a lot of monsters, which when they are defeated have a chance to drop an echo, which is basically a copy of them. These are basically going to turn into your equipment, but additionally is that you can actually transform into them to help you out in battle. I think all of these elements combined definitely help make the exploration element a lot more interactive and fun, combined with the fact that you can kind of go around and catch echoes, which a lot of people like to call them catching Pokemon even. It could make a really fun and interactive experience, at least at first. The echo idea is really cool, but it does have some problem, mostly on the grinding part of it, which I have addressed it in the second video. But there's one big thing I do want to talk about with the open world in Wuthering Wave. Cool as the world is though, I personally do really feel like the open world feel kind of dead. It potentially is too big between point of interest, but the most important thing is that I feel like point of interest is just not really that memorable. Genshin Impact and a neighboring gacha game, for example, there are really cool point of interest that even though I don't play the game anymore, I can still remember. For example, in the 1.0 region, there is the island full of a bunch of turtle, and I remember that because it was really hard to get to. Or there's that island with the heart that only give you a chest if you're playing it in co-op with your significant other. Or in the new update, there's the village with all the small leaf people. These are point of interest that I can clearly remember in my head years after, just because they're so unique. So far when I play Wuthering Wave, I just don't feel like I'm able to remember any of the landscape at all. It often makes it feel like you're exploring the world so that you can defeat monsters and get material, rather than exploring the world because of what the world has to offer. I think as cool as the exploration mechanics is, including the parkour, the grapple, as well as the individual puzzles, there isn't one giant reason of why I want to explore this region. There isn't some kind of cool aesthetics, there's some kind of cool backstories, in some kind of lore, and it's just another area where I'm probably going to go around to get loot, same as every other area, and I think that makes the exploration slightly boring. I think one really important question to ask yourself is that, are you looking for an exploration game with really good action RPG combat, or are you looking for a really good action RPG combat that also have some kind of exploration and an open world to it? I think for the most part, this game is marketed toward semi-casuals, people who focus on the combat first, the hack and slash and the action RPG part, but sometimes they don't feel like playing that part, then they can still enjoy the game via other way, mostly exploration, enjoying the open world, maybe understand the story a little bit. But if you're someone like that, boys, I got great news for you. Because now it's time to talk about the most important thing of this game. The combat. Probably a die frame. Holy shit! That shit almost one-shotted me. What the fuck is that? Wuthering Wave have really good fast-paced action RPG combat that require focus. Dodging and parrying are especially important in this game. High-level enemy will straight up one-shot you if you're not careful, and you won't get enough DPS uptime if you're not parrying the boss properly. But the most important mechanic is probably the intro-outro mechanics that require you to swish through your entire team for you to do as much damage as possible. Wuthering Wave adopt this really interesting playstyle called the intro-outro skills. Essentially, when you have full energy and you switch out of a character, that characters will do an outro skills before they leave, and it provides massive benefit. For example, on Sueha, your outro skill will provide your entire team 30% glacial damage, which is absolutely massive if you're playing something like a glacial team. At the bottom left of your screen, you're gonna see this energy bar, and whenever that fills, your team is ready to do a coordinated attack. When you switch as a character, they are going to perform an intro-outro skill, kind of like a coordination attack, and then you can chain this onward onto other characters, and I can chain this once again as soon as the energy fills. One of the reasons why dodging and parrying is so important is because it gives the energy. Notice how every time I dodge, the energy bar fill up a lot faster at the bottom. So there's another dodge, there's another dodge, and I'm going to do a parry right here. Notice how it filled my entire energy bar without me attacking once, and I did that with just dodging and parrying. That's why dodging and parrying is so important in this game. Rather than saying simply switching characters, a more appropriate word is probably handshake, some kind of tag team that's going on. Switching character in Wuthering Wave is extremely fluid. There isn't some kind of internal cooldown, but most importantly is that you can switch character whenever you want, even if you're in the middle of the animation. I can jump up on Liang and then come down as a different characters, doing a different plunge attack. Character actually stay on the field and finish their attack even if they're switched off, making it possible to have multiple characters on the field at the exact same time. Rather than saying like you have a main DPS characters and then a bunch of support character that probably doesn't do anything other than buffing your main DPS, this game much more work like free characters trying to tag in and out together, like an assist system in a fighting game or something like that, because you actually have to do a rotation on every single character to generate that energy so that your next character can tag into the battle to continue your assault. Combined with the fact that each character have their own unique set of skills, unique set of echo, it really make it feels like you're playing as a team the entire time. You're playing as a party of free characters together to hunt down these difficult bosses and enemy. Every single character in this game has a really unique playstyle thanks to what I like to call their identity skills, which is essentially their secondary resource bar above the character HP bar. Take Alto for example. He can generate these bullets whenever he attack, and then whenever he pass through one of the mists that he create, he actually turn them into special bullet that does even more damage. And yes, every single character in Wuthering Wave have their own unique secondary resource bar that encourage you to properly play the characters the way they're meant to play. Bosses and enemy in this game can definitely be really challenging, that really test out your pattern recognition skills, because if you're not careful or you don't hit the parry at the right time, you are absolutely gonna get destroyed and one-shotted. Combat in Wuthering Wave actually feels really good to play. I feel like it's a perfect middle ground between hardcore and casual. It is quite simple on the surface. You just got your skills, you got your ults, and then you got your swap button. But deep down, there's so much more that for people who are looking for a challenge, people who are looking to min-max their combat, there's a lot going for them. But regardless if you're a casual or a hardcore, the game is still super savage, super fun, super fast-paced. I feel like this is exactly what I'm looking for a perfect combat system. And this, I honestly can't give enough praise. I think the best part of this game is that because content are actually challenging, and there's a lot of challenging content in this game, you actually get a chance to display your mastery over your characters, which also means there's more of a reason to practice mastery over your characters. Become the best character player or something like that. And I know at this point, a lot of people are probably thinking, a boss is actually that challenging, or are you just under level? Because clearly I'm not under skills. Well, I'll promise you, yeah, they're kind of challenging. Keep in mind that we were given max level account that have everything unlocked it for the purpose of testing. In particular, some of the 5-star character in this game, I actually have full sequence, which means I had 7 copies of the 5-star characters to unlock the full sequence of the entire characters. And I tell you what, I was still getting one-shot by the boss anyway. But regardless, we're actually given 3 different unique endgame game mode in Wuthering Wave at the current moment for us to test out our skill and character. Starting off with Illusion Realm. This is actually a rope-like game mode where you go into a dungeon and you pick a bunch of buff. And then move on to Tower of Adversary. This one's like a mob rush, boss rush challenge, your typical chamber to chamber challenge. And of course, finally, the Hologram. These are insanely difficult bosses, super upscaled with advanced move that again will one-shot you, and this one truly tests out your dodging mechanics. Illusion Realm is the roguelike mode in Wuthering Wave. You start off by picking a cooperator, and then throughout battle, you get additional card that will give you more buff, or even straight up change how your character is played. And the buff can range from something like just cast your ultimate twice, or even straight up letting you play as the boss character entirely. It is extremely fun to just stack a bunch of buff and make your character extremely OP. And what you're seeing on the screen right now is my level 20 characters melting away a level 55 boss because I hit this insane combo that just summoned a bunch of meter on top of him. And then we move on to the tower mode where you're basically pitted against a bunch of mob or even the bosses, and you have a certain amount of time to finish all the enemies. The trick here is that it's a bunch of floor, but additionally is that it runs on an energy system similar to Punishing Great Raven's Pain Cage. Every single character starts with a certain amount of energy, and as you run them on each chamber, it will cost you energy in order for you to run it in that chamber. So for example here, I cannot run my rover because it is already out of energy. I have to use a different characters like my Chisha, and I can expend 4 energy on my Chisha to put her into this chamber. It'll be really interesting to see how the meta play out for these tower, because it is possible that you use a bunch of weak characters for the first 2 chambers and then save your strong characters for the last 2 chambers, which are where the more difficult enemy are. But if none of those really looked like a challenge to you, we still got the hardest one up to talk about. The holograms. Essentially, holograms are these super upscale bosses in Wuthering Wave that for the most part will straight up one-shot you. They come in difficulty 1 to 6, with of course difficulty 6 being the hardest, but if you carefully read what's right here, it say that after 3 minutes, it will increase its attack by 50% every 10 seconds with no upper limit. So when I say this boss will one-shot you, I mean it will one-shot you because its attack is gonna go all the way to infinite until we one-shot you. So for difficulty 6, you have to play perfect. But don't underestimate the other difficulty either, just because they're lower numbered. Especially starting from difficulty 4, all the bosses will do advanced move on top of their regular move. The most obvious one is probably against the Thunder Rapids boss, where this boss will occasionally summon an additional clone that will mimic its attack, and it's kind of random what he does. Or the monkey will additionally summon these ninja monkey that will shoot a fireball at you. We call them advanced pattern because they are not present in the regular boss in the overworld and are significantly harder to dodge. Oh! 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 Okay, I hit him finally. Dodge, attack, dodge right, attack, dodge right, attack, dodge right, attack, dodge right, attack. Okay. Hologram bosses are extremely fun and challenging, and they award you with the shiny version of the boss echo, so it's not so important that the casual is gonna feel like they're missing out, but for the hardcore who is looking to challenge themselves, who is looking for an actual challenge, they got it in the game. There's currently only 4 advanced hologram in the game, with each having their own gimmick, but I can easily them adding even more in the future. There are tons of bosses in this game. We haven't gotten hologram crownlets, which for a lot of people, this is one of the best boss fights at design. There's the turtle fight. The Scar fight would be an insane hologram challenge. In this game, there's a boss called Scar, and it's basically a weekly boss used for material, but the visuals and the pattern on this boss is extremely insane and extremely satisfying to fight. I feel like the boss fight in this game is just so well put together, combined with every single characters having a extremely unique playstyles. On top of that, you start adding in like your entire team rotation and stuff like that. This game just got massive potential when it comes down to the combat aspect. I can't really praise the combat enough. I know I'm kind of selling out here, but the combat was really good, especially once you did get the resource to build every single characters that you have, and then again properly play them together as a team, doing your rotation and stuff like that, facing against enemy bosses, doing your parry, doing your dodge and stuff like that. This combat system is super amazing, and I feel like it is absolutely what I ever wanted from like a team-based combat game. Which is why this is the perfect segment into talking about the most important thing that people care about. The gacha. Whether or not the gacha in this game is generous, we still have to see when the game launch, since it's just straight up depend on how many pull they give us. There is a beginner banner available with a 20% discount, but the thing here is that you guarantee a 5-star characters within 50 pull. So everybody is gonna start out with a different 5-star characters when they first start playing Wuthering Wave, which is super cool to see. The features limited character banner work exactly like Genshin, except the pity is at 80 pull instead of 90 pull. So within 80 pull, you guarantee a 5-star characters, and then it is a 50-50 chance if you get the featured character or not. If you don't get the featured 5-star characters, the next one is guaranteed to be the one on rate up. So for example, if I do 80 pull right here, right now, and I didn't get Jian, like I said, I got like Liang instead, my next 5-star character is guaranteed to be Jian. So that's the part same as Genshin. The weapon banner, however, it's rather generous. Every character come with their corresponding weapon. In this case, Jian have Verdant Summit, and then Liang has Strength Masters. These weapon banner is a guarantee obtainable one at 80 pull. So when you hit 80 pull, you guarantee to get this weapon, no 50-50 required, 100% chances. And then of course we got the standard banner summon, pretty standard in like every other gacha game. It's just the one you pull when you have nothing else to do or when you have extra currency. Ignore the fact that these currency is the one they gave me, but I could make a poll video if you guys really want to. But anyway, the standard banner work the same. Every 80 pull, you guarantee a 5-star characters. It could be any one of these standard characters. But I actually want to shift your attention to the standard weapon banner. So in addition to the standard character banner that you get character from, there's a standard weapon banner as well. So it's separated in this game. The thing with the standard weapon banner is that you can choose which 5-star weapon you want to get. So I think there could be potentially a pretty big argument where your event currency go toward the characters and then all your standard currency go toward the weapon. Then each one of your characters can have a 5-star weapon. And just to remind you that weapon banner is 100% guaranteed to get the one you selected. So I think that's really good because that gives a lot of free to play the potential to obtain a really powerful weapon for their favorite character without having to spend money on the limited banner. With that being said, I think Wuthering Wave have a really solid foundation for combat, but it does have a good amount of stuff that it could really work on. The parkour is a little janky from time to time. Otherwise, I think the game could really use some polishing up before they release it. Hopefully a good amount of quality of life changes included as well. The daily in this game is really convenient to do. You just have to get 100 points to get a bunch of resources as well as EXP, but they're really quick there. Something like just obtain 1 echo, just do challenge 1 time, or kill 15 enemy that you can easily do by spending your daily stamina anyway. I actually really like how the daily is extremely fast to do. They're just like, well, kill 5 enemy and your entire daily quest is done. Look, just like that. And within that, I'm already halfway through my daily in that 5 seconds. Otherwise, my biggest feedback for now is that I wish they would make the game a little bit more casual friendly, make it easier for a player to get into the game. Again, right now I feel like the open world just is not engaging enough, it is not interactive enough, and I feel like other than the combat system, it is hard to get casual player into the game, which is then how you fall in love and discover the greatness of the combat in this game. Otherwise, I think with time and with polishing, I can really see Wuthering Wave being one of the greatest gacha game coming into the market. But yeah, with that being said, my overall enjoyment with Wuthering Wave has been pretty good so far, especially on the combat. And again, I do think they could use some polishing, some update on the non-combat side of things like the overall world, maybe the story a little bit. I'm not really a big story person, so I don't really care too much about that part. But the combat is definitely really fun, and I can't wait for the official release that will be coming whenever they're ready with the game. With that being said, if you're like me and you absolutely can't wait to hear more from the Wuthering Wave team, there's going to be a pre-register link in the description below that you can click on to register for this game right now. And thank you again for sponsoring this video. Super excited to play this game when it come out, and I'll see you all next time.